What's up, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Joshua T. Berglan. Oh, I don't have to say, but you know that because I'm not doing those videos. We're live. This is Spoken Word Live. And as I said, my name is Joshua T. Berglan, your host. And I want to thank you all for being here. I am having so much fun doing lives. And today I'm doing it outside because it's not 105 degrees outside. It's actually 85, overcast, and freaking awesome. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I got to say, yesterday, episode 5 was my favorite episode so far, and I don't even know why. But before I get too far into this and before we draw the word of the day, I want to say, yesterday I came on here and I respectfully said bad things about a streaming platform and their customer service and other issues. And even though I had to push really hard and fight, they did do the right thing. So, thank you, OneStream. Thank you for doing the right thing. I don't like saying negative things about people, but at the same time, I also appreciate customer service and doing the right thing by people. And after 3 days of fighting, you did the right thing. Thank you so much. Anyway, those of you who don't know, my name is Joshua T. Berglan. I'm also known as the world's mayor. And by the way, that is not an egotistical nickname. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do about being in service to others and helping each other reach their goals, to elevate people into their highest positions, their positions of greatness, their areas of expertise. But then to do this amongst a large group of people, to bring people together, to go on and take on giant monumental tasks. Being a mayor is not an egotistical job. It's about being in service, essentially, and it's about helping others be their best. And that's what this is all about for me. And I could talk about this for 4 hours. I could actually do a whole episode that's 5 hours long on what the world's mayor is, but I won't do that today because this is spoken word. Anyway, so glad you're here. No matter what platform you're on, I think we are. I think it didn't go live on LinkedIn for some reason, but we're on Facebook and X, Twitch, and I forgot where else. It doesn't matter. Anyway, thank you again for being here. Let's draw the word today. In fact, after I draw the word, I'm not going to go into another commercial. I'm just going to go start talking because I already played the preview video. My voice echoes in this. I may have to do something fun with this later. Okay. By the way, I've slept 2 days in a row, so I may be a little feisty because sometimes I do these broadcasts and I haven't slept, and it gets a little sloppy sometimes. But guess what? I've slept 2 days in a row, so this could get fun. What's my word? Vision. Vision is the word. The first thing I want to say about this, I like to tell stories. This reminds me. I don't know about you. Like, I don't know. For those of you that get downloads, that would call yourself a visionary, you get visions, or you're a prophet, you're a psychic. And by the way, I don't know what the freaking difference between the two are, to be honest, because I've been around both and they pretty much are the exact same to me. I don't get it. And I know there's lots of arguments, but they're all gifts from God. They're all gifts from God. I don't know why we decide to play with words and make some things bad and some things good. And we do this without actually understanding what the origins of the words are. That's crazy, but I don't want to talk about that. I remember the very first time I got a vision. And without being gross and going into too much detail, my very first vision came after being molested the first time. In fact, every single vision I got at the early stages of my life, into my teen years, into high school, which is also teen years, and college, up until my 20s, every vision I got came from something traumatic. Whether it was an overdose, being molested, being abused, having
attempted suicide, all of these different things. That's where my visions came from. And at that time, I didn't know what I didn't know what that was. It took me until I was around 36, 37 years old to actually understand what visions were. And I know some people know it sooner, but I wasn't exactly in the Bible. I wasn't even like at church. I was in a Baptist church. They didn't talk about vision. They didn't talk about, prophecy and things like that. So I didn't understand anything that I was learning. And by the way, I can't see anyone in the chat. I don't know why, but I'm not going to trash the software. I can't see anyone in the chat, so forgive me for not commenting with you. But I didn't know for the longest time. Like I thought I was crazy. I thought I was seeing stuff like it was taunting me. I mean, has that ever happened to you? Those of you who get visions, have you ever going, what is this? But the thing is, those visions. Oh, I can't see the chat now. Hi, thank you for being here. Dango. Those visions, though, what was it like for you when you first got them? Was it confusing? Was it did you know right away, hey, this came from God and this is what I'm going to go do? For me, I was horrified of them. And I didn't understand what they were until much later. I was around 36 years old. I remember I was in San Diego. I was living in San Diego and I interviewed a guy, and he said this quote to me that has changed the way that I've understood visions to this day. And I don't even know the book that it came from, but he said, the dreams and visions that are placed in your heart are not God mocking you. It's God showing you what's possible for your life. What? And all of a sudden, I started to realize these dreams, the things that I'm doing now, that was the life that God had for me. That was the life that I was created to live. And mind you, I used to get vision. I get visions for other people, always have. And of course, I used to turn it into a bar trick, because it was I'd start drinking and all of a sudden I could read everyone's thoughts and minds, and I could go up to people and start telling them stuff. Some of you who hung out with me back in the day remember me doing this. It became like a party trick. But I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't understand what it was. And so when I realized that these visions were God showing me what's possible, it changed the way that I pursued my vision. It changed the way I pursued everything. Now, one of the lessons I learned about all of this, these visions, was that other people got visions too. It wasn't necessarily, it didn't make me special because I got visions. It didn't make me any different than anyone else, because frankly, we all have gifts. But what I came into learning in this process also was that some, like myself, of course I didn't know it at the time, some can weaponize their gifts for their own gain. And this is where we get into the conversation about prophets and psychics and so on. And those from the prophet community that condemn the psychics, but then the prophets ask for money. What makes you different than the psychic? You're just monetizing the gift that God gave you. And while I am adamantly against monetizing our gifts in such a way, because I believe it perverts the gift, this is my opinion. You don't have to agree. I don't care. This is my opinion from my own experience, from working in the Pentecostal church and understanding how some of these things work. As being somebody that has had someone lay their hands on me and give me a prophetic word. In fact, there's not many churches. I can walk into a lot of these prophetic churches. I walk in the door and literally sometimes they'll stop the service and the guy will pull me to the front to give me a word. Some of you have seen this happen. I'm not going to go into detail, but I made a lot of decisions early on by listening to other people's visions for my life, thinking that this is what I was supposed to do. In fact, I got catfished for something very similar. Oh man, being catfish sucks. Oh man, I told the old. This may be a really long one because I'm just going to talk for a while because it's so nice outside and I'm in a good mood and I'm full of energy and I may just lose my crap today. But I have to tell this story about getting catfished. Holy wow. As I've said before, these broadcasts are going to be all over the place because they're not, I mean, sometimes they're going to be short, but today I feel like talking. But so, catfish. I had a prophet come to my life and was like feeding me word after word after word. And it was like they knew every single thing that I ever wanted to accomplish in my life. They knew every goal, every dream, every vision, and they spoke right to it. Now, I'm sure I contributed to some of this problem, but nonetheless, I'm eating it all up because I didn't know at that time, you know, that prophets could possibly want to cause somebody harm too. Anyway, so I'm getting fed all of this stuff. Well, it got to the point where I had it in my head that I'm going to be moving to San Diego, back to San Diego by this date. And I got rid of all my stuff, all of my suits, all of my clothes. I donated it all. I was at Word of God Church. This is when I was doing the Saturday night service there. I gave all of my stuff away to the men at My Brother's Keeper. Love those guys. And I love everyone at Word of God Church too. So this is not, I'm not trashing them because they're not, this is not where the prophet came from, by the way, just to be clear. This was somebody online, which makes it even dumber, but whatever. It's funny though, when people call you and go, God has been telling me to get a hold of you for 2 weeks and I haven't done it. And now I'm just like, okay, I got to tell you that, you know, God's got this message for you and I'm supposed to give it to you. And when they gave it to me, I mean, it ripped me open. It started bawling my eyes out. Like, oh, it's like everything I needed to hear. Because I've been in this fight and this journey and it's been hard. Oh my gosh. You know, I'm like, it's over now. It's over. I'm finally there. I'm finally at the finish line. I'm finally going to achieve these goals. And I'm being promised that all this is going to be taken care of. The media centers are there. The Morgan camera shop, that's yours. This, that, like everything is going to be provided for you. You've got everything. Now I know I'm moving to San Diego. And I tell the whole congregation at the Saturday night service, I'm done because I'm moving to San Diego to finish the rest of my mission. Needless to say, I didn't move to San Diego. It was the most embarrassing thing of my life. I remember another time a prophet told me, and it was convincing. I mean, my goodness, it was the most convincing message. Like, you're going back to California. This is different. You're going to LA. You need to start house shopping today. Like, you need to go as a show of faith, start looking for a house and contacting realtors and blah, 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 blah. And he started naming all these things that were going to happen. What was crazy, though, is 2 of the 5 things happened. 2 did, but not moving to California. But, and I could go on story after story of it being prophetic words. There's this prophet, this prophet that's on TikTok who's all over the place. Celeste, I think her name is. The Master's Voice prophecy. She's on there. And like around the election time, she was given prophecies about the election and who was going to win. Well, she was wrong. Well, guess what? Now she's back again. And she's telling the whole world in her visions from God, in her prophecies from God, that California is going to be underwater and San Francisco is going to have a typhoon. And like, she's basically making all these predictions, right? That, well, you don't really need to be a prophet to make, but then at the same time, she's wrong all the time, right? So the point of all of this is to say that as wonderful and powerful as visions are, and I think it's one of the coolest gifts ever when someone's a visionary, when someone's a seer, when someone can connect in the spirit realm to other energies, spirits, whatever you want to call them. Like, I think it's such a beautiful gift. Yet at the same time, in my experience with any of us that are gifted this way, like I'm, people say I'm prophetic. I hate that word because I'm wrong a lot. I'm right about a lot of stuff too, but I'm wrong a lot. So to call myself a prophet of God would just be as blasphemous as, well, I can't think of, there's a lot of blasphemous things. I don't want to say them out loud as an example, but like these visions get weaponized, and yet at the same time, these visions can give life to people. And so I don't know why I'm going around talking about all the negative stuff about visions, especially because it's one of the more beautiful things in the world. But I would like to say this, maybe. One of the things that I've learned about vision is that the best visions come really in our own relationship with God. When we're sitting there, whether it's we're reading our Bible or religious book, because frankly, I've read the Quran and been given visions from God. So, like, I've read I've read James Patterson novels and gotten visions from God. I've been in a car with a guy strung out on meth who looked like he had horns growing out of his eyes. I got a word through that dude. Like, I'm not one that's going to put a limit on God or the Holy Spirit and the way that they communicate. But what I've learned is this. Like, we share visions for other people in faith. Like, if we're shown something, like, and we deliver it to someone, it's really, really dangerous to say, God told me to give this to you. Because if you're wrong, think about the damage that can do to someone. It did a lot of damage to me, and I don't know about you all, but if you've ever been given a word and you took off and did something, or even if you saw a psychic, or it doesn't even, or just a regular visionary, and they gave you something that really spoke to your heart, and then you went and acted on it, and then, it ended up being maybe the wrong decision. Now, I also believe that there's no real accidents because we get this opportunity to learn from our mistakes and learn from things. But at the same time, when we do things in the name of God, like share a prophecy, share a vision, like, I think we should be very, very careful about saying it's from God. In fact, one of the things that I've started doing is saying, listen, I feel prompted to tell you this. I feel led to share this with you, and it may not make sense, or it may make complete sense. It may make complete sense. But I'm feeling led to share this with you. I'm feeling led that this is on my heart. But, like, you'll either get confirmation from someone else, it'll come through someone else, or in some other way, confirmation will show up for you, or this will be confirmation for you, if it's of God. If it's not, forget it. Don't take it too much. And the way I've seen it weaponized, though, is I am a prophet of God, and then I decree and declare that in the name of Jesus, you are going to be healed from this cancer tomorrow. You need to chop off your left toe and jump rope backwards into a swimming pool and then set yourself on fire, and then you'll be healed. Like, stuff like that. Or we need to take all of your bills like this. I've been dumping all my bills in here. Oh, shoot. I lost some of my words. That's not good. Uh-oh. Should say some of them. Anyway, and you drop all your bills in the bucket, and then you set it on fire, and then you dance around it. Like, I've been a part of things like that. I don't know what that has to do with prophecy, but because God said to do it. And of course, I also think about all the times that I felt like I was being led and God was leading me to do something that seemed completely asinine. Like, it made no sense whatsoever to anyone else on the planet. But I did it anyway, and it ended up being the right thing. So here's what I've learned. Even with my own visions, or if I get a vision for myself of like what I'm supposed to do, you sure about that? You sure? You really want me to go do that? Will you confirm? It's shocking how confirmation will come. Sometimes it happens in a moment. Like, sometimes it's an hour later. Sometimes it's a day later. Sometimes it never comes at all. But I've learned that waiting for confirmation, because if it's something God really wants us to do, I'm quite sure that God would take the time to confirm it. Because, some of us have a lot of different voices in our head telling us all different kinds of things to do. Oh, sure, you should do that cocaine because that's going to make you, make social life so much more fun. Like, oh, it won't be a big deal to do it that time because that, you got social anxiety. Just do a little toot toot and everything's going to be fine. I'm pretty sure that God's not going to tell you to do that. But in fairness, I did convince myself one time that God wanted me to drink because drinking brought out my gifting. It does. I don't know why that works. I don't know how that works. Like, I'd love to talk to someone that understood the brain, why we can start drinking and then all of a sudden, like, the gifts just start flying out of us and like, woo, I could like get in words. I can read people's minds. I can do all this stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I turned it into a party trick because it's fun. I don't drink anymore, but I'm just saying, like, it used to be, I convinced myself that God wanted me to drink and wanted me to go to bars because I could speak life into people and I would get these words and I would be able to just drop in and tell people what they needed to hear. I have no idea if it was right or not, but they sure felt like it was at the time because they're bawling their freaking eyes out or running away. But that's another part. But typically, it was fun. But then I would notice a day, 2 days later, all of a sudden, I can't hear God. I don't feel right. My energy's off. I'm in a funk. I'm disassociating. I don't disassociate anymore, but back then, that would happen. Maybe God doesn't want me to drink until I would talk myself into it again. So the message here is simply these visions. Before you run off and do what the prophet or the visionary tells you to do because they've given you a vision, ask for confirmation from the Creator. It'll save you a lot of heartbreak. It'll save you probably from getting catfished or selling your house or getting rid of all your clothes, marrying somebody you don't know. I mean, I've done some crazy stuff because of visions. And it was all because I didn't take the time to get confirmation. Be still and know I am God. I'm not saying I'm God, but I'm saying be still. Be patient. Wait for confirmation. It's worth it. Because being first to the party is not always best. That's a bad analogy. Being first or getting done quicker is not always best. Like, it's great to be the first one with an idea for sure, because then you get to be a trailblazer, right? But when it comes to these things where we're taking action or we know it's super important to us, it's best to wait. It's wait for confirmation. And here's the thing. I think after we get the confirmation, then we got to go. Like, jump out of that airplane with no parachute. Build it on the way down. I live my life like that, and it's amazing. But I also have confirmation that I'm going to be able to build that parachute on the way down. You know what I'm saying? And I get that confirmation before I jump. Even though I don't have all the plans, I don't have all the details, I don't know what the final outcome is going to look like, it's a lot easier to take leaps of faith when we've waited to get confirmation that this leap we're about to take is the right leap. I believe with all my heart in my own experiences by someone who's lived by faith and lived off of miracles for 10 years.
that confirmation will save a lot of detours in life. Because the path, even though like the path, that your purpose is straight up. I know people talk about the wiggly lines and all that stuff. Those wiggly lines are when we get off track. We take those wiggly lines because it seems a little bit easier over there. We get caught off with, no, it's a straight line. It's straight up and it's freaking hard, but it's the easiest path. It may feel slower, but it's the easiest path. The detours will really slow things down. So then another thing, with your own visions. I don't know if it's Habakkuk. Is it Habakkuk 3:3? And forgive me because I don't remember the exact verse it is, but you know about the writing your vision plainly on a tablet, you know, that verse. I don't know what it is, why that's so powerful for not just casting a vision. I mean, I love to write because I write my prayers, I write my visions, I write the life that I'm choosing. I write all that out. And there's something really powerful about doing that. And one of the wisest people I know, somebody that I really, really just admire and respect a lot, they said, when you write it down, there's a brain and heart connection. And at the same time, you're blocking out all the other noise. So it's really just the ultimate moment of presence. Like, in other words, you're getting into your heart, you know, becoming heart-centered, and I'm channeling the energy from my brain, the thoughts from my brain, into my heart, into this paper, and I'm writing it down, and then I'm able to read and see it. So it's like I'm getting in my heart and making it meaningful. And off the top of my head, this has nothing to do with vision really, but even like the gratitude practice, one of my favorite gratitude practices is this. And everyone, you know, I write down gratitude. But one of the other gratitude practices I think is really special is when we say, I am grateful for blank. But then ask yourself, well, why am I grateful for that? So like a lot of times when I used to do my interviews, I would say, what are you grateful for today? I go, what are you grateful for today and why? I did that for a reason, because a lot of people are like, I'm grateful for the sunshine. I'm grateful for a cool day, so I'm not going to sweat through my white shirt today. I mean, you know, just very, very basic things. Well, why are you grateful for that? Well, I'm grateful because I don't want to have to, I mean, doing laundry sucks, and I really don't want to have to go put on a brand new shirt after this before I go to the doctor. Well, you know, and like, anyway, the point of the exercise is to ask yourself why. Why are you grateful for your mom? Well, I'm grateful for my mom is because when there's no one else there, my mom showed up for me. When everyone else turned their back on me, my mom was there. My mom loved me regardless of the mistakes, the awful things that I did. My mom loved me and never gave up for me, and she continued to pray for me, and she never gave up hope for me. Why does that make you grateful? Well, because when I felt like no one had hope in me and I wanted to kill myself, that feeling, that knowing that one person actually still loved me and believed in me, you know, gave me a glimmer of hope to help me keep fighting. And on and on and on and on and on. Like, you just keep asking yourself why until you're out of whys. And the purpose of that exercise of asking yourself why you're grateful for each thing is it allows you to go deeper and deeper into your heart. And it becomes a knowing. Like, I'm grateful that I'm grateful for my relapse that I had 8 years ago that brought the craziest vision of all visions. But when I felt God drop down on me, and some of you won't know the story, and then God dropped down out of nowhere, and I'm up for 4 days straight. I'm not going to go into all the details of what I was doing, but it wasn't good. And I could hear God go, I'm not done with you yet. This is going to suck, but I'm not done with you yet. You're going to put a spotlight on your shadow world, and you're going to show people the supernatural power of truth. And on and on and on and on. I'm grateful for that relapse because God came to me and gave me one of those not a sucker punch. He woke me up. It like, here it is. I'm feeling sorry for myself. I've given up. Like, I'm only a couple of years into my walk and trying to rehabilitate my life. And I'd already just said, screw it. This is too hard. Where are you, God? Nothing's happening for me. Everything's a struggle. Like, screw it. Screw it. My relationship's toxic. Can't get away from her. Blah, blah, just all this stuff. And screw it. Went back to meth and doing all my crazy stuff. But that relapse is what motivated me to put a spotlight on my shadow world. That relapse is what helped me get comfortable with the truth. That truth is what brought healing in my life. That truth is what brought meaningful relationships and friendships in my life. That truth is what brought me closer to my family. That truth allowed me to write a book that ultimately became an apology letter that allowed me to heal, not just heal the wounds of my past, but also help others heal. And I'm not patting myself on the back. But because of that healing, it's built my faith. And because my faith is strong and my faith gets stronger and stronger and stronger, because I have no reason to ever doubt that God is going to come through, that it's going to work out for my highest good, that even in my failure and even in my screw ups, I know that it's going to be okay, especially when I'm honest about it. It allows me to learn from those lessons, and I'm grateful for those lessons to be learned, because that way I can become more and more of the person I was created to be. And I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to be well, hold on. That's not true. I am trying to be perfect. Perfect in the sense of being everything I was created to be. I'm grateful that honesty, even though it pushed a lot of people away from me, the people that showed up were the people that, like, look, I don't need 800 friends. I don't even need 5. But the people that are in my life, I know love me, and I love them, and they care for me, and I care for them, and we have an honest relationship, and there's no secrets, and I'm a safe person for them, and they're a safe person for me, and we get to share and be open and honest and have very healthy conversations that would frighten most people, but then we get to have them and work through it and grow from it. And because of that, I have peace. So whether that was a vision from God or that was really God talking to me, I don't know. But visions obviously are very, very powerful. And in our own relationship with seeking a relationship with God, with and whatever that looks like for you, I believe that that's where we get visions and downloads and other things, or we become open to other people's visions. But when we get those visions doesn't really mean it's going to happen tomorrow. But I highly recommend, when you do get those visions, to ask for confirmation and wait for confirmation. And if you don't get it, don't do anything. Because if it's really of God and if it really is for you, it will be confirmed. I've never seen it not happen, ever. But I've seen it happen where I've gotten that vision or gotten that word from somebody, that vision from someone else about what I was supposed to do. And I'm like, oh, good, I get to go buy a house in the Hollywood Hills now. Or whatever it was. When I acted without confirmation, detour. Path of purpose is straight. I don't care what anyone says. I took a detour. And those detours sometimes could take years to get back in line with what we're supposed to do. I don't know if, like, that's by my experience. And I don't know about yours. Love to hear about it. So, vision. A man with no vision. What is it? I've heard this said quite a bit. A man with no vision. A man without vision. Well, a man without vision is a dangerous man, and a purpose, because you don't really have a purpose. You don't even know where you're going.
You're just wandering aimlessly through life. And you know what? I can't use that term because that wouldn't be considered appropriate anymore. Dadgummit, childhood things I grew up on that used to be appropriate that are no longer appropriate, and I can't say it anymore. It's so confusing. Basically, I'm like a monkey high on acid that's got blinders on, that's in a, never mind, whatever. It's just a train wreck. It's really, really, really ugly. When I'm not following my vision, I'm not pursuing my vision, and I'm distracted and I'm all over here and over here, that is when I make a train wreck of my life. I'm pretty convinced that's when we all make a train wreck of our life. So the moral of the story is, be careful with, one, how we share our visions to other people, how we even share the own vision of our own life. Like, I got to be careful about the visions I get about sharing it publicly with other people before it's time to share it. Some things need to stay to yourself. And again, I'm all about truth. But these visions, these futuristic plans, sometimes they're better to keep close to the vest until it's time to truly unveil. But we must be careful about how we use these gifts, because our gifting, as beautiful as they can be, and as much as they can bless people's life, they absolutely can wreck people's lives. And we must be good stewards of them. This is why I make fun of all the time the Cash App prophets. The words that you get, the prophecies you get, should not come with a price tag attached to them. It pollutes the gift. It poisons it. And frankly, if you're a prophet and you're just going around telling people good news, you're not a real prophet, because that's not how it works either. Not everything in life is hunky-dory. In fact, we don't want it to be all hunky-dory, because there's nothing to learn from and nothing to grow from. And in my experience, the greatest blessings come from traumatic moments, not the greatest successes. Where, when everything's warm and fluffy and cute and perfect and everything falls into place. I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, wait. No, that's nice. It's always nice when things fall into place. What am I trying to say? Oh, I know what it is. The prophetic words that just puff you up. I'm like, yeah, I'm a spiritual warrior. Ooh, yeah. And just like go around flexing on people like you got more of the Holy Spirit than anyone else, that kind of stuff. Like, prophetic words do that to people, and it makes them crazy. And then those are the same people that will judge you and tell you got demons and all those other things if you don't do what they say. That's why it's a personal relationship with God. Anyway, now I think I'm rambling and I'm going to shut up now, but thank you all for being here. That is not where I was expecting to go with vision, the word for the day, but here we are. Thank you for watching.